Welcome to Musings from the Cyber Trench, the podcast that goes beyond surface-level talk to uncover the real challenges and breakthroughs in public sector cybersecurity. Each episode features fearless leaders and visionary experts who are reshaping security strategies in some of the most complex environments. This is a space for honest conversations, fresh perspectives, and practical insights designed to empower and inspire. Get ready to rethink what's possible and join a community committed to making cybersecurity stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Here's your host, Vishal Masih.
Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Musings from the Cyber Trench. My next guest today currently serves as the Vice President of Enterprise Architecture at Emily Banks, overseeing critical domains including information security, hosting, network, and cloud services. He is an accomplished leader with over 2 decades of international experience in IT consulting, specializing in developing and executing successful global technology strategies that consistently deliver measurable results. This proven expertise spans the entire system lifecycle, from architecture and engineering to delivery and operations, showcasing comprehensive technical and management skills. Known for his effective communication and collaborative approach, he excels at engaging stakeholders across organization levels and functions, fostering consensus through a positive workspace culture. With that, everybody, please meet my guest, Vishal Goyal. Welcome to the Musings from the Cyber Trench Shah.
Thank you so much, Vishal, for hosting me. So it is now Vishal Square.
So there's only one Vishal Goyal that I know of.
Yes. And yes, and the same goes with me, one Vishal Masih.
Yeah. So, Vishal, today we are going to talk about that, and there's a lot of I would say misconception and confusion on exactly what SASE is. I know people who still call it SASE, who still call it SASE. So for the folks who are confused or what in the dark, please shine, uh, shine some light on and explain yourself what exactly SASE is.
Yes, Vishal. So I think you're spot on. I think when Gartner came with this term SASE in 2019, I think people start looking at this as, oh, there is something new has come up. But let's start with the full form of SASE, which is Secure Access Service Edge. So where everybody get confused and they don't understand whether it is SASE, what is SSC, there are new terms. So people start getting confused with the products, right? But when Gartner came with this word SASE, again, Secure Access Service Edge, the main idea behind that was to converge the network and security into something called SASE. And SASE was defined as actually an architectural framework. So if I go into the details of what actually consists of SASE, you will be surprised. And I'm pretty sure people across network and security community, they might be using all those services in one way or the other way. But let's say why Gartner, first of all, came up with SASE. What was the need, right? So if you remember that 2019 was the time, I think, where the cloud adoption, I can say, right, that it is definitely going on for a long time, but it is what, like, as a peak on the cloud adoption, where on-prem data centers, people are trying to move off from and going to cloud, right? So what do you need? You need a flexible way to access your cloud applications, whether it is your applications or your vendor application, right? And similarly, if you see that 2019, I would say 2020 was that time where this remote work was at this peak. And you know what I'm going towards, that COVID era, right, where everybody was working from home. So that remote work was at its peak, right? And the other part of the architecture framework, zero trust principles, and I think you must have already heard about from your clients. That was also kind of picking up. So people were very confused that now what Gartner came up with SASE, right? So let me tell you what SASE is. Actually, SASE consists of network and security, as I mentioned, right? But what from security? You will, right? So security, first of all, let's say about secure web gateway, which is people know about as a proxy, right? When you are accessing anything from your company or your even laptop, that you use a proxy. So I think you agree that it is not new, right? People are using proxies for a long time, right? The second of this is CASB. So what is CASB, right? The cloud access security broker, which you use to access your cloud application securely, right? With proper identity, policy, permissions, context awareness, and everything like that, right? The third thing in this the whole SASE was the firewall as a service, right? So though people already have firewalls in their perimeter, right, their data center perimeter or office perimeter, but this brings up a new term called as, I would not say a new term. They brought firewall as a service in this, and then what else came in? So I think you must have used VPN, which was just yesterday invented, right? Now, this VPN is people are using VPN for a long time. So what this SASE converted that VPN to? ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, right? And one more important feature in this they added was WAN. No, not at WAN, actually SD-WAN, software defined WAN, right? So if you hear these different terms, right, I think you will not say that any of this is something very new you have heard. If you're working in the IT industry, especially on the infrastructure side, I think these terms are being used for a long time. But what Gartner did is they tried to bring all these together as network and security services at the edge so that their users have access to the applications in a secure way. So shift your security near to the users. Use cloud applications because um, uh, you cannot have your own services expand to that there where the cloud services can bring point of presence near to the users anytime, anywhere access to your users in a secure manner. So I think I replied to your question in a very long way, but I wanted your users or your listeners to understand that SASE was brought in, and even today, as you mentioned, users think like, oh, it is some magic word which has come, and oh my God, how will we do? We are behind implementing SASE. So I wanted to make you aware that this is where the confusion comes in.
Understood. So most organizations today see SASE as a product. Just let's go and buy SASE. But you were saying it's more of an architecture design or a framework.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So this is where this whole confusion starts, because I would tell you, like, right now, when this term came in 2019, there were very few vendors who were using all these products in a package manner. But as the time progressed, that this whole SASE hype cycle picked up. So vendors started coming up with the products, right? So that is why people think SASE is a product. Any big vendor you go, which is already in the security and network and cloud area, they will all sell SASE products, right? And that's where it gets into the mind of even the architects in a company, who are security architect and network architects. Oh, we are talking about a product which needs to be implemented, which is so complex, which we don't know, right? But as I earlier mentioned, right, in my definition of SASE is actually when Gartner came up with SASE as a word, their whole mindset was to bring it as a architecture framework, not as a product. People looking it as a product because they see there are products available in the market, vendor driven product. But this is actually a framework. If you see all those things, you need proper policies, you need proper identity, you need proper technologies, which comes later. But unless you have defined your framework, architecture framework, what are you trying to accomplish, first of all? That's how I look into my day-to-day job. If somebody is coming to me, oh, I need this tool. The tool can solve a purpose, but what problem you are trying to solve? Can I expand that and solve other problems along with that? So if people are trying to solve these in that mindset, so this is why we say it as a framework, not as a product. The moment you start going into product, vendors will start selling you the product. I'm not saying that they're selling you wrong thing, but if you don't understand your requirement, you don't come up with your architectural framework. Why do you need it? When do you need it? What is your plan to implement it? How do you want to be measured your success criteria? It, just buying a product will not help you.
Okay. So based on what you said, if SASE would be one of the ways sort of for an for us to attain our goals of having zero trust architecture, right? So what groundwork should we lay before we even start thinking about SASE?
Yeah. So zero trust framework. So this is actually one of my other favorite topics, which I really like to speak about. So again, zero trust framework, zero trust principle, or we are zero trust compliant. People again start jumping in because not just the team members, even CISOs and CIOs, they love to say that, oh, my company is zero trust compliant. And I'm not saying again they are wrong, they are right, but they're right to some extent. It- yes, because zero trust, if somebody asks me, I say zero trust is a journey. And it will be a journey for your organization forever. To me, you cannot say that you are trust, 100% compliant ever. And I can tell you why. I see zero trust. What is a zero trust? Zero trust, in simple words, is least privileges. Okay? Authenticate once and validate always, right? But if you go with this principle, least privilege, do you think you will be able to do least privilege everywhere in your company on every application at one moment where you can say that I'm zero trust compliant? I don't think so. I don't think your listeners will agree that they cannot, because it is ever going in progress kind of implementation for you. So, and zero trust is where you are identity driven, context aware access to your resources you are providing to your users, right? So when we combine zero trust and SASE, so SASE is one part of zero trust implementation. So that is exactly where you are going, right? Can I achieve zero trust when I say SASE? Yes, but not fully. Again, as I mentioned, right? If I see zero trust as this big circle, SASE is a circle smaller inside where you are using SASE to achieve your bigger goal in that. So you can start with SASE, but you cannot say that if I implemented SASE that I am 100% zero trust compliant. No, because again, whether your the identity policies are mature, are you able to integrate all your SASE into your zero trust policies everywhere, where also you're not trying to commit your resources in the network and security only area? So that is very important for you, you to know there.
Okay. So you mentioned you mentioned identity multiple times. So would you say that we should start with first making sure that we have the right identity security in place, and then move to network security and SASE and so on?
Yes, I would definitely say that and anybody looking into the SASE, you need to have the identity framework first in your company implemented well. And when I say implemented well, it consists of your multi-factor authentication, your adaptive authentication, your context-aware authentication policies, how you are doing. I think that is very important because in the end, your SASE implementation is going to use the same. Because I can give you one example, right? So in SASE, we say ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access. And this is nothing but the expansion of VPN, where VPN users look that you once connect, you get access to your the resources in the company's network right there. But ZTNA goes very granular, right? Where which application, what type of access, where you are coming from, which device you are using, there all factors come into picture, and it is like point-to-point connectivity, not giving access to the whole of your network. So think of that, right? If you don't have your identity framework rightly implemented, can you achieve this? The ZTNA for your users? I don't think so, right? The similar is the case with CASB, right? If your data policies are not well defined, right? Your classification of data is not there, along with all the identity things which we discussed earlier. You cannot give your users access to your services, or you cannot download if you are in a particular device in a particular network, or you cannot take print when you're sitting at home accessing an application from your home laptop, right? So all these identity is definitely the foundation for moving into SASE. SASE will look into your coarse grain, but identity in the foundation service will try to bring it in your fine grain access permissions, whatever you are looking for your applications.
Suppose I have my identity security policy defined. What would be the next step if I want to roll out SASE? I focus on the edge first, I focus on cloud, or I focus first on the governance side of things.
Right. I think that is a very good question, Vishal, you have, right? So this is again going into the step-by-step kind of what should be my next step, right? Instead of trying to get everything together, how I can move, right? I think that's what your question is about, right? So I think I would like to emphasize another acronym which Gartner came up after 2 years of SASE. It is SSE, right? That security service edge. I think you must have heard about it. So the main idea by bringing that term different from SASE was that, as I earlier mentioned, that SASE has network and security both together. And people were finding it very difficult because if you see a typical big organization or even a medium-sized organization, they have a very verticals in the infrastructure team. A network team is a network team. Info security team is an info security team. They are looking in their different domains and they work like that, right? But SASE is kind of convergence. So people were finding it very difficult to start going with all the implementation of whether it is SD-WAN, whether CASB, whether ZTNA, whether DLP policy is difficult, right? So what happened that, okay, how should we look the implementation so that we are not failing in the end? So how you should start looking into it. So if your identity foundation is solid, right? My take is that you take the WAN or SD-WAN part as last. Just keep that in mind. And that is one of the reasons, as I mentioned, right, SSC talks about security capabilities more versus the network capability. So think of, let's keep the SD-WAN part, which is giving you the flexible connectivity as a last thing, right? And what you will do is you will start with your other implementations. And the implementations on now you can start with CASB, right? Are your cloud applications secure enough? Are you using the adaptive permissions to access that? So that is one where you can start with CASB in your applications. You can have your secure web gateway in a manner where the security for the end user is moved closer to that. You can look into that. And all this is I'm trying to tell you that it could be based on the product or the tool you are buying. There are specific steps that you go to first secure web gateway and then you go to CASB. But these are something I'm trying to tell is these are not like tied tightly to each other. And this is what exactly people need to understand, right? So you don't need to stick with one product. If you start looking into your architecture, I'm already using a secure web gateway today for my proxy services, right? So for SASE, what do I need? Your security web gateway, so in a typical old security web gateway, you were only looking for your 8443 traffic, suppose the web traffic, right? But because now you are moving your security edge in the cloud, the services which were deployed in your on-prem before, which used to look into all traffic, now needs to move to cloud. So first step you can look into your security web gateway, that how it can start looking into my all traffic, not just 8443 FTP or any other traffic going out. How I can increase my inspection with that security web gateway. So that is like first step for you, right? Now, CASB, everybody has the SSO SAML implemented to access their SaaS applications, right? But so far, those SaaS applications are integrated in such a way where if you are using a SaaS application as a consumer, you have very minimal control on that SaaS application. And you can ask me now, what does it mean, right? What does it mean is that you go through your own identity provider, you authenticated the user correctly, authentication, authorization, everything happened. Now SAML token is handed over to your SaaS application, correct? Now, once you hand over the SAML token, control is at the SaaS providers, right? You can definitely talk to them, okay, I want to keep my session to 30 minutes or all other things, but still, the control is in the hands of your SaaS provider. So what CASB brings you? CASB brings you that control in your hand, right? Though you are still doing the SSO integration, but you will have more control going through the proxy service, that you can put a conditional policy saying that when Vishal is accessing this office site from his home laptop, he's not able to take a screenshot, he's not able to take any printout, or he's not able to download any data, right? But when I'm an office network, office laptop, I can do all those things because that is a controlled environment versus my home laptop. So that comes as a second thing, right? So now you can expand it to, as I mentioned, like DLP, which is optional in SASE most of the time, but your data classification, which will again, you will relate it to how it can be integrated into this CASB, right? If is suppose a public data, why do you care whether I'm downloading it in my home laptop versus office laptop, right? If it is confidential data, definitely that will. So for that, you need to have that labeling correctly, right? What data, what place, what device, what network, right? So you can think of these ways to go into, but again, I will emphasize that it is not, you don't need to stick to one tool or product to look into all these capabilities. You can use secure web gateway from somebody else, CASB from somebody else, and you can go best of the breed in the markets. I think everybody knows there are different vendors. You can have one product from one vendor and then the other. And in the last, what I mentioned to you, the SD-WAN comes in. Now, in the old architectures, what used to happen? You used to backhaul all the traffic from your different offices, locations, and all at one location for the obvious reason, because you want to inspect the traffic, right? You want to do a sandboxing on your traffic so that you can identify the issues, right? So that SD-WAN can give that flexibility where you don't need to bring all the traffic back. You have your cloud implementation of your WAN now. Choose your ISP or whatever you want to say, and they can send that traffic to near point of point of presence for those vendors, right? If you're using, suppose CASB for a vendor, you can use that. You are using secure web gateways from another vendor, you can use your SD-WAN policies to go with that way. So this is how, if you go step by step, understanding your architecture more, I think that will help the users to make their uh, program successful of implementing SASE in the right way. I hope that helps you on your questions.
E- uh, from what I heard from most of the SASE vendors, is that one of the key things that they push for is that going with them, uh, you will get uh, uh, a product, you get product consolidation. So less products to manage and maintain, less license cost, less headaches and so on. You was think it's that we have the freedom to use different products. There is a balance there. You get there are benefits to using one stack, but there are also cons of that because like you're putting all your eggs in one part.
Yes.
Like how do you wear that?
Yes. So I think this is another very good question, Vishal. And that is where I think most of the companies get into this whole idea of that, oh, if I have one vendor, I think my issues are gone, right? Let that vendor come in and they will do the SASE and then go away. And I'm not saying there are not products or tools or technologies which can handle your whole of SASE, but you brought out a very good point, right? When you are going with a single vendor, you need to always think, right? Are you locking yourself in with a vendor, right? So maybe you will get a good deal for the first contract, but when the renewal is coming, are you stuck, right? So again, I'm not publicly saying that you should not go to a one vendor. All I'm saying is you need to make your decisions accordingly, right? What again? What is your goal, right? Most of the companies are again using an SWG secure web gateway, right? Just talk to your current vendor, that are they providing the SASE capabilities where they can go beyond the 8443 web only traffic. What kind of inspection they are offering, right? The users, companies are already using VPN services today, right? And in the old world, if I see VPN was provided by a very different company from where VPN is, the web gateway services are provided, right? So you can ask your VPN providing services that, do you provide ZTNA now, right? What is your offering? How can you help me? The similar way, you can go to your CASB vendor, right? You might not be using CASB today. So if you're not using any of those services, you can always fall back to your vendor, which is already there in your company. I'm not saying you need to stick with that. All I'm saying is that if you have your requirements, your framework, your architecture design rightly done, you don't need to depend on single vendor. But I also say that you don't need to choose 5 different vendors for 5 capabilities as we discussed. Yes, definitely I'm not in favor of doing that. You don't need to go for best in breed for everything. My rule always at my side is 80-20 rule, right? What does that rule mean, right? I could have one tool which is doing excellent in one of the areas in security, networking, infrastructure, and all, right? Now my requirement comes as a supplement to the existing requirement. Now, should I start looking best of breed? Or if the existing vendor is already able to meet my 80% of the goals, can I have enough controls on my rest of the 20%? Or are those so critical that I really need to look into the best of the breed? But I also say that at least go with 2 vendors if you are going with the SASE, so that you have a backup plan, right? Next renewal is something comes up in a contract where you don't like some terms, whether it is increased licensing fees or getting lesser features and all those kind of things. So you have an option. And I think the market is so competitive, Vishal, nowadays in this area, where due to this whole cloud adoption, every vendor will try to get your business, right? So don't worry that if you go out of one vendor's product, you will not be able to find anything because that is best in the breed. No, I think there are almost every big company in today's world, they're all looking for this whole connectivity and security in a manner where they're all saying that their products can meet all of your requirements. So you don't need to worry about a single product for this, for sure.
Yeah. Would you say SASE or even SAP is mainly applicable if my team is remote, or if I have if I have multiple branch offices? So if my team is all coming to the office, I am only one office. Uh, would I? Is there still a use case for using SASE or SSE?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a use case, but again, your requirements could be different, right? So your requirements could be different. So you can go with a different licensing model. But why it is still useful, right? So again, see, if I am owning a company where I'm saying that okay, I just have one office and users are coming, then why do I need it? But I still need inspection, right? I still need to secure my edge, right? Where people who are sitting even in the office, what are they accessing? What data is going out? What data is coming in? That still needs to be inspected, right? So if you look from that perspective, SASE is essentially putting everything in cloud. Now, as an owner, do I really need to worry about that I have enough of the capacity to inspect all the data? Am I updating my patches at the correct manner? Am I upgrading my product for the new features? Versus if I'm going into the cloud with a provider who has these services in the cloud, I don't even need to know when did they patch. Do they have enough capacity because I'm already running with an SLA? Nowadays, vendors are giving you 4 nines or even 5 nines actually of SLAs. So do I really want to have that infrastructure burden on myself? No. But do I need to have knowledge in my company with people who are going to manage it? Absolutely, yes. So even if you are small versus big, I would say even when you are a small company, actually you should go with SASE because that is where be you will be able to take help from those big vendors who are investing billions and billions of dollars into their security products. So this is absolutely a case that if you're a small company or even have a one office versus 5 offices.
So SaaS company usually charge by network bandwidth and users, right? So in your things, has that been a concern in terms of like you getting hit when you hit their their uh, bandwidth thresholds or bandwidth charges?
Yes. So that is where I think Vishal planning comes into picture, right? How are you doing planning before jumping into this whole SASE C? How do you see your requirement? That's why I keep on emphasizing on the requirements, right? So definitely you need to have your requirements for the capacity, not for just today, maybe next 3 years, based on the projects coming in your company and the growth your company is looking at. You definitely need to have those kind of things. And then you can talk to the vendors and have this in your contract as tier conversation, right? So suppose if I'm at 1 terabyte bandwidth, right? So this is their cost. Talk to them and say that, okay, if I add 150 GB more, what will be your pricing? If I go to the second tier of 2 terabyte, what will be your pricing? And again, I'm saying that today vendors are so keen on taking your business. Everybody is going into this model because this is a subscription model today, right? Now it is not like on-prem. Cloud is all subscription model. You will easily get all these kind of the quotes when you're signing the contracts. Have that in there, right? Today I'm this, but okay, in next 6 months when I go, how do you do the averaging for me, right? When will be the second tier kick in? What will be the pricing of the second tier? If you go by this, I think you will never see an issue because you are going informed into this contract. Number of users also, right? Every company knows that what will be their growth path, right? In at least next 3 to 4 years, correct? So you can again get in that contract. Today I have 5,000 users. What if tomorrow I have 6,000 users? How the tiering will work? 7,000 users, 10, 20, 50. Everything is possible if your team who is negotiating the contracts with the vendors, they have this information from you. So you will never go wrong. You will never see that, oh my God, I invested $1 million and that's all I had. What will I do now? If you have this planning, you will know, right? If next year I'm looking at this growth, I'm putting aside this money for that growth.
Okay. So what I am hearing is that you should start with the why, have your your requirements figured out. If I want to start negotiation with a SASE vendor, what information should I have in hand before I even reach out?
So, so what information you should have, right? In this, actually, again, the planning goes, but you need to really also know that along with your requirement, what are your policies, right? What kind of vendor you are looking? Does that vendor meet your organization's policy requirements, right? Uh, m- Most of the places we call it like vendor risk assessments, right? Is that vendor, what I'm going to choose, do they have enough financing, right? What is their financial health versus what is their client base, right? If they're listed company, what is their image, right? How much market cap they have, right? So this is about the vendor, which you definitely need to know along with your requirements. I'm not emphasizing on. I think we have already discussed that definitely you need to have your requirements and everything. But when you are going to your vendors, first of all, also these things needs to be very clear in your mind that what level of policy requirements you are going to ask. Now, one critical thing in this, Vishal, is that as long as I was hosting any technology or tool in my data center, right, I had full control, right? I can have my firewalls, edge, the box where I'm hosting, all controlled. Right now, all is moving in cloud, right? So when it was with you, you know that okay, I'm putting 2 boxes for resiliency. I can put 3, 4, 5. Now it is going in cloud. So you look for SLAs, right? What is your SLA? I don't care if you have 500 boxes versus not. What is your SLA? What is your performance? I have my user in US. I also have my users in Hong Kong. I also have my users in UK. How you provide those services as localized, right? So the user sitting in UK doesn't need to come to US to access that resource. Do you have the local point of presence is there, right? So these things are very helpful when you start thinking of, because now you're moving to cloud. This is a totally different thing what you used to do. Now you are handing it over. It definitely comes with a peace of mind that you are not handling your servers or resources, but also this pre-work is very important. You need to have in your company policies well defined for your vendor. I think you must have heard now with this whole AI and all, most of the targets are the SaaS providers, not because of the SaaS providers, because the data they host there. So are they doing the data classifications correctly? How is your tenant hosted? Are you a multi-tenant environment versus they're hosting your application in a single tenant environment? So while going into the SASE, all these considerations will come and you will uh, move your focus, shift your focus that what questions you need to now ask the vendor, which is vendor related, along with the requirements. I think requirements you will still come up because again, none of these, the capabilities we are talking in SASE are just came up as a brand new VPN, your resources, your SaaS applications, but this vendor shift is very important to know.
discussed some really key points. I think honestly, you should write a small checklist and like make it public, because you're sharing such good information that uh, most uh, organizations often overlook.
Right, right. And that no, definitely, I think there is a checklist, and if you want, I can connect with you later, and I can provide you a checklist which you can help. But definitely, I think, and that's how I have done, because unless you have the clarity, I think it can easily go the other way, which you don't want. It could become very costly if you're, again, fingers crossed, in case the SASE vendor is hacked, all the data is there, right? That is a very big deal. That is a very big concern nowadays, because everybody is shifting into cloud. Everybody is shifting their things in the outside of the edge. So yes, I definitely, there can be a checklist which can be a guiding list also for the companies or for the users who have not gone into this. And yes, we can definitely talk about that.
Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned this, like I'm sure you may have seen or heard of SASE deployments gone wrong. So how do you define success uh, for a SASE deployment? Like, what is your definition of success?
That's a loaded question, I would say. And why I'm saying that, I'll tell you why I'm saying that, right? So I think some of that is already we have discussed, but what success looks like to me when I'm talking about SASE, right? See, when I'm going into the SASE program, that is, again, I'm kind of decentralizing my network and security, right? I'm trying to go to cloud, which is not like you are just sitting in a Boston in one data center, right? You will go to cloud because you are looking the availability. So your success metrics could be that how good is the performance for accessing some applications, which before versus now. Because as we discussed, right, before you used to backhaul all the traffic from your different offices, different locations, so that you can inspect in one location and send it. So what is the increase in performance, right? Resiliency, right? If you were doing it yourself before, you must be not going beyond 3 nines. I can definitely say that, right? But now, what is the resiliency architecture of the vendors? If you ask me, you should actually go in detail with your vendor who is selling you the product, looking into their resilient architecture, right? What is their presence overall in the world, right? How many locations? What is their failover policies, right? If they are down today, what is the impact to me, and what can they do to mitigate that for me? Is there a bypass policy? I can run locally without before they are up, or if they are down in US, can the business start accessing their UK sites? And I'm just making it up right now. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that success metrics could be in all these parameters, specifically shifting into that, okay, you have 30,000 users. What is your vendor can provide if within a month you become 40,000 users, right? Bandwidth increases. So what is this? All these success criteria could be measured in this manner. Today, your implementation could access only 10 applications purely or internet, but all the other applications you were getting into the on network because you could not apply the policies of data download, the printing, the screen sharing, and all. So that could be another, right? How you are making your applications easily accessible over internet, but in a secure manner, more secure than what they were before. So all these could be your success criteria when you are going through this program. If you want, we can also go through specifics if you have written like so. Different companies can go with their different KRIs, KPIs, right? How they measure that, and one of the measuring parameter, as I mentioned, right, the performance improvement. It could be same, right? In 1 year of time frame, what was my downtime, right? And if you're moving through the vendor, then you can see what is their uptime, right? In last 1 year, how many outages they have gone through in their locations. So this could be another parameter for their thing. So you can definitely define your parameters, how you want to see it as a success. And again, don't see it as a success that you want to achieve everything 100% today. No, the SASE is again going to be a journey, but it is not an endless journey. As I mentioned about zero trust, definitely, definitely you can achieve this project in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year time frame based on the size of the deployment. But definitely take your time. Do all the homework first before jumping into the implementation.
Yeah, I would well finish that journey. Like you don't need many besides just be on zero trust. Honest enough. So sometimes I have seen companies would want to encrypt their data before they let it on the SASE network. So they don't want their vendor to be able to pick it what they're sending back and forth. Does that defeat the purpose?
Yes, it does. If the mindset you are going to the SASE is that you want to 100% inspect your traffic, then definitely this defeats your purpose, right? Without decrypting, how would you do the inspection? Without decryption, you can just look into the headers, right? Though headers can give you some information, but that will not solve all of the purpose, right? So that is where I was mentioning, right, that your data classification and what kind of connectivity, where you are going, which service you are accessing, that is very important so that you can define these. Because if you are going with a one single rule that all my traffic needs to be inspected, I don't care. No, that will not work, because I can tell you, even some of your if you have a SaaS partner which is hosting the application for you, even they don't like man in the middle kind of things, right, coming in there. So they might say, no, if your SASE implementation is decrypting the traffic, it will not work for me, because that will break all the things, and man of the middle, the transaction gets failed, right? So there are different parameters. That's how you need to see. Now, what I usually say, again, that traffic which can be decrypted and the vendors are cooperating with you and they can do, just take that, right? Take it through your SASE implementation, your secure web gateway, which can actually decrypt and inspect and go through there, right? But traffic which cannot, there could be other things you can do, right? As I mentioned, at least you can inspect the header, right? You can have a firewall where you are trying to at least putting your traffic that, okay, if it cannot go through my encrypted tunnel, then let me go through this firewall. So what I can do with next generation firewalls, now you can do at least IPS policies on there, right? You can at least make it very point to point that, okay, you can just go to this location that traffic comes in, right? So all those things you can do if you have that restriction. But yeah, you cannot say that, oh, I want to 100% inspect and that by decrypting, because all the things are not in your hand, because you are going to vendors which have their own policies too. So yeah, I think again, just think that, and I don't think everything needs even decryption for you or inspection, right? The vendors you are working for years, and they are big vendors there. They are again investing so much in the security. You have to have some trust. You have already done the vendor risk assessment, so that also plays a very big role into your trust factor with your vendors. I see you are smiling. I think there's something going in your mind.
Yeah,
I see that.
speaking like we just what about zero trust and noise, and then should trust the vendors.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say, I'm not saying that you are blindly trust this vendor, if you heard my words, right? Because you will still have the access policies there. You still have the data classification, so that you are defining if the user is accessing that particular resource from where, right? Device, location, user, everything plays, right? So traffic movement is one part of it. That is why zero trust is bigger and SASE is a smaller subset of zero trust. So I'm not saying that you are blindly trusting anybody in that. So I think now I understand your reason of smiling there.
Uh, so now let's shift gears a bit and let us get to know you a bit better. So tell us about when you grew up.
So I grew up in India, right? And I grew up in Delhi. It's part of the North India region. Yeah. And I did my schooling from Delhi, but then for my engineering, I went to Punjab. So my actually parents come from Punjab as a background, and my father shifted to Delhi because of the job. So we have roots in Punjab. So I did my engineering in Punjab. So I would say I have enjoyed my two different versions of my education because Delhi is a metropolitan all at once. Everything is going so fast. And then all of a sudden, I went for engineering in a location where life is very slow, which actually, if you ask me, I liked a lot because maybe I've seen that all the rush all my life till I did my 12th grade. But in engineering, when I saw like right, what is the fun of just running in the fields for miles and miles, right? Just go there and get that sugar cane and then just eat yourself, right, directly from the fields. So this is my background from education and
Okay. Did you have any siblings? Do you have any siblings?
yeah, I have two sisters, both are elder to
Okay.
me. Yeah.
So did they both spoil you? Be the youngest and only brother?
I don't know, but I can definitely say that I had advantages being the youngest. So definitely, when you are younger, after some time, when you get your senses right, you know how to get the things from parents when you are the youngest, right? So definitely that was there, and we definitely had a very good bonding among three of us, and it is still there. Though we live in very different parts of the world. My one sister is in India, one is in Canada, and I am in US. But we still are connected well.
That's very nice. So while growing up, so would you say you were a good kid in school, or did you, get into trouble?
I was actually a good kid. So, and the reason could be it is not that because I wanted to be a good kid, it is because my father was a teacher. Not in the same school, but he was actually a teacher there in back in Delhi. So probably that is why I had to be a good kid, though I didn't want to be. But yeah,
Well, that's a good motivating factor.
yes, of course, there was very small chances of error.
Yeah. So in Punjab, where did you go to for college?
So I in Punjab actually I went to. You will be very surprised. Firozpur. Firozpur is actually border area
Oh, was at the
there.
border. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the border area, and now don't ask me why I chose that location and all those questions, right? Because sometimes just life just gives you something, and you just need to take it, right? So, and I tell you, when I first went there, first 15 days were very difficult for me, and you can understand, right? I'm coming from Delhi, the life is so advanced, fast, and all, and now I'm going to a region which is like a border area and all. But after 15 days, I think I started gelling well because I already had some background in that area because, as I mentioned, my parents come from Punjab and my cousins and everything. We used to go to Punjab in summer vacations. So actually, one interesting fact I tell you. So though when I went to Punjab for studies, I could speak Punjabi because of my parents, but I never studied Punjabi, so I cannot write or read. So, I bought a small book which had that translation from Hindi to Punjabi or English to Punjabi, so that at least I can read the bus titles, right? Because if I need to travel within Punjab, I need to at least see. And all the local buses, they only put their destination in the local language, right? So actually, I spent 1 month word to word reading and understanding that this word will means this and how I need to read and not get lost in when I'm traveling within Punjab.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
right.
Like I can understand Punjabi, but I can't speak it very well. Reading and
Or
writing, just I don't even go there.
no, I think I can say that I can speak good Punjabi. I can understand for sure.
Yeah,
And now I don't know if I'll be able to read it now because so many years I have already
neither one.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, uh, uh, like life has um, same view and like brought you where you are. So what have been the biggest influence on your life that has brought you to where you are?
So when you say influence, is it like a person influence or a
In often
situation?
it can be uh, some event, some belief, some saying something to you.
Yeah. So I can say that when I did my graduation to first 5 or 6 years in my job, I was kind of that person which like used to like flow with the flow, right? Whatever is coming, you just do things. Definitely, there are moments of a joy and sorrow, ups and downs, but I was of that very kind of thought process that okay, as things are coming, I'm taking and I'm going. And if at that point of time somebody used to ask me, what is your plan for next year? I used to say, I don't even know what is my plan for tomorrow. How can I tell you that's what is my plan for next year? But I think when I moved to States, my we were actually waiting for our first kid, right? So when we moved to state and there was nobody here because we are the first generations, and I hope you understand. I think you must have gone through the same thing. Um, that that realization, right? When where you grew up and where you used to take things for granted, but now you are in a situation where you need to do all the things yourself. I think that changed a lot. Me that changed me a lot, right? uh, and especially when you are married and expecting your first kid, right? All of a sudden, it was like a big change for me. I think that changed a lot. That that Vishal, who used to flow with the flow, I thought I need to start planning. I need to look for things right 2 years in advance. Though I was able to do that or not, I don't know. But that mental thing used to start rolling in there. And I would say that from then to 16 years now, 2 years back, when I look back, when I used to flow with the flow versus I'm trying to control, I think I was not able to change much. Though I was thinking that I have a control, but I was not able to change much. 2 years back, actually, I had a few health issues with my back and all, which changed my whole thought process. That I think when I was flowing with the flow means that you are expecting, you are happy what you have. You are giving thanks to the Almighty that where you are, what you have is all good. I think that mindset was already there within me when I used to be in that college or school days or even the initial days, which I somewhere lost it. So this 2 years back again, I think I got that realization based on that concerns I developed, that I don't think I achieved much with my control. Things are still going on, right? There are people to help me. My family is there, my wife, my kids, my friends. In fact, like we have been known to each other for so long, right? So it is not like you control everything. It is the people who are there, your good deeds, your thankfulness, that helps. So that is my story. I don't want to go into the philosophy anymore, but I'm just that there are these two different things which I still realize that I think that was the better moment when I used to say thanks every moment, right? And now I'm trying to change again. I think, and that's a big thing these days I'm working on.
It's coming back full circle almost.
Full circle. Yes.
Yeah, I think somebody told me about like to just have the mindset of do your best and leave the rest.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
all we can do. Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, Vishal, today, and I'm sure our listeners will love our conversation, not just about scalability, but also how to go with the flow. And yeah, I just thank you for being on the show, and yeah, I look forward to other episodes with you.
Absolutely, Vishal, and I definitely thank you to give me this opportunity to talk on this topic, and especially connect with you. I think after 2004, this is the longest we have talked. I can say that for sure. Once we left our previous company, right? So I think I enjoyed talking to you, Vishal, on your podcast, and I would love to come back on any of the topics. And please feel free to reach out if you need any help or any of your listeners need any guidance or suggestions. I think I can help my best, whether they like it or not. But I think definitely I'm open
Yeah,
to
I'm
have
going to
a
follow up
discussion.
with you on the whole checklist for sure.
Absolutely, anytime, Vishal.
Well, this brings us to an end of another episode. I'll see you on the next one.
Musings from the Cyber Trench podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.